Are you ready to learn how my assistant and I do our daily, weekly, and monthly meetings? If this is your first time on my channel, my name is Lai Lacaba. I've been working from home since I was 15 years old and now run a virtual assistant agency to XU. And I post videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have a business from home. So make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos. Now, today you guys are in a little bit of format. If the camera is moving around a little bit, it's because we're actually recording this on Zoom. I'm going to be on a call with my assistant in a little bit, and we're going to walk you guys through the system of how we're doing our daily, weekly, and monthly calls. Now, in previous videos, I've talked about how important it is to have really good communication systems when it comes to working with your virtual assistant. And what I mean by communication systems is how often do you guys want to check in? What is in those check-ins? And for me and my assistant, we've kind of really worked out a good system of, again, the daily, weekly, and monthly things of the agendas, basically, that we go through for those days. Now, I'm going to, of course, first introduce you guys to Honey. So guys, this is Honey. Honey and I have been working together for about 6 months now. She has been kicking butt in a lot of the things that she's doing. So Honey, go ahead and walk us through what a daily sync for the two of us looks like normally.
For our daily sync with Miss Lee, my system is before I usually have a notebook and a pen with me, but then Miss Lee Ann taught me to practice writing the things right off the bat while we are having our daily sync. So from that moment, I created my own system, which is I created a database on Notion since we are using that one. And then I referred it as a daily sync report. So there I usually put reminders, updates, changes, or questions that I will tell to Miss Leanne while we do our sync. And then after that, I have some portion also wherein I could put some notes on what are the things that Miss Leanne told me, like the tasks or just a reminder for me to what are the things should be done within that day.
So essentially during our daily sync, a lot of what Honey and I do is we go through basically just what happened in the previous day, what we're focusing on today, and what are the things that she needs from me. So exactly what she said, she has her own note system where she knows the things that she wants to bring up during these meetings and the things that I should be doing throughout the day as well. So she does also check in with me. So the daily check-in, the purpose of it is to make sure that Honey and I are in sync, that we know what we're supposed to be doing throughout the day, what the priorities are. Make sure that, again, we have that daily, like, hey, this is what we're working on today. This is usually like 9 a.m. our time here in the Philippines. So it's easy for us to have a little bit of sync. For some of our clients, it could be their end of day, their assistant's beginning of the day, or it could be somewhere in between. If, for example, like Australia time, where there's only like 3 hours difference, it's a little bit easier to have that sync. But it's usually just that. It's just at the beginning of the day, what are we working on? What are things that happened yesterday? So sometimes like Honey and I will even go over like, this is how my meeting went. You know, now we have a new client. Let's make sure that we send them this. Let's make sure that we set these up. So it is just a way for us to kind of sync back, like, hey, what happened yesterday? This is what's happening today. Let's make sure that anything else, that if there's any bottlenecks, that we're able to address them. The next type of meeting that we do is what we call the weekly meeting agenda. So this is at the beginning of the week. This is usually on Monday. If anything happens, like for example, I'm traveling or anything like that, we make sure that we do that on Tuesday then. And what it usually looks like is kind of a little bit of the daily sync, but it's more of just the bigger wide, okay, what are we doing this week? Where's all the projects at? So Honey, can you go ahead and walk us through your template, the template that we developed into XU on how we usually run these weekly syncs? And I'll also then share my screen and walk you guys through the sync points that we have to make sure that we cover it every single week.
So for our weekly agenda, this is usually on Monday. So this is our template looks like. So for this one, I'm just gonna fill out the date for the week, and then I will then begin to run through what was done for the last week, what wasn't done, and of course, the tasks that are waiting for review. So what was done, this is basically the tasks or the things that I did for the last week. So Miss Anne would have that bigger picture on what are the tasks that I've been doing. And also this is kind of a recap what happened the last week. And of course, there are tasks or things that I was not able to finish. So I'm gonna put it here on what wasn't done. And of course, for the tasks that I've accomplished or finished and then needed some for reviews, this is where I put the link. And then Miss Leanne will go ahead and go all over through the tasks or the things that I've done for the last week. So for the actions, goals for this week, the things that are put inside the wasn't done will be listed here on the task for this week. So basically that's the first thing that I'm gonna finish and it's past the last week. And then for here, this is going to be Miss Lian's task as well. And then for additional notes, just questions or anything that like bottlenecks that I want to bring up to Miss Lee so we can solve it together while we're on the meeting.
So essentially, like I said, during these weekly meetings, it's just a way for us to review where things were at last week and for this week. And an additional thing that we do have, and this is all, by the way, on Notion, the additional thing that we do have as well is we have just what we call just sync points, just things that we want to make sure that we touch every single week. So for example, one of them is just go through last week's agenda, which is essentially Honey's template. The second part is going through this shared space. So this is a shared Notion page between the two of us. We do have things above, which is basically just tasks and other things that are going on for the last week, so I'm not showing you guys that here. And then we go through email and calendar changes. So anytime that Honey might have sent a email to a potential client or is replying as me, just going through like, I replied to this person, I sent this person needs additional information, or it could be when it comes to calendar changes, like, hey, this person asked to reschedule, just so I am just above aware of where things are at and I know where things are moving and going. Reviewing calendar schedules is just in case that I'm on a trip or there's anything conflicting, Hannah and I go through my calendar and we shift things through, or I ask her like, hey, can you ask this person if we can reschedule? And then next is checking our assets master list. So one of the big things that we do in XU is we constantly create assets for our clients. So I'll just check on that, like, hey, where are we at on this? Where are we at on that? Next is giving updates. So if we haven't gotten to the point where we're giving each other updates on projects or things we're working on, this is kind of just checking off. Reviewing to-dos, this is, you can see who is for me to be able to set my priorities for the week. So again, this is why the weekly agenda is so important, because then Honey has a good overview of what my week is going to look like. Then as I'm looking through my to-dos, making sure I delegate tasks, because I do sometimes like, oh, I'll do it myself. Like, no, I can give this to Honey. So it's a little bit of a training for me as well. And next is if Honey has any questions, this is the area for her to ask. And then we review and go through, you can see a little bit of peek right there of the projects that I have. What's the update? What's the next action step? How can we close this project and finish it off? And then we review the content for this week. So for example, she will go through the content that we get from our social media manager. She'll show it to me. We'll go over like, okay, that's good. That can be posted. And finally, at the very end is we review our leads database. So we make sure that we're following up with the people who need to follow up, rescheduling, anything like that for 2XU. So then for our monthly syncs, this is usually just what we call also a monthly retrospective and goal setting. This is a way for me and Honey to be able to see what went on in the last month and what are the things that we are hoping to make sure that gets done through the next month. This is also the opportunity for me to be able to give her really good feedback of like, hey, this went really well. Hey, I think we can still improve on this system. So as a really good example, earlier you guys saw that I have the review calendar and email. That's actually something that we added just because of our review from February of like, hey, I think I really want to know if we're making changes, if things like that. So then I'm just generally aware of where things are at. So that's usually what the monthly sync is for. For the format of it, it's basically just a review of, hey, what was done in the last month, or highlights. So it's not going through the to-do list, but it's what the highlights from the last month. I give Honey very specific feedback on the things that she did really well and things to improve. And then we go through her OKR, or objectives and key results. So if you guys already watched the video that I did on how to set goals with your virtual assistant, this essentially is what it is. So at the beginning of a quarter, or when Honey and I started working, I had very specific objectives and responsibilities that I wanted her to master. So I'm giving you guys, or I'm showing you guys the template that we use at 2XU, just to kind of give you a good overview of what that could look like. So for example, when it was email management, then for that main objective of ours, like I want her to master the email management side of my business. Then the key results is we'll set it every single month of what does that look like. So for example, on email management, the first one was like for her to shadow, and then I'm just giving very brief ones here: shadow, clean, and then drafts. So let's say that's the progression of how an EA learns someone's email management. So then we'll put in like when. Right now it is February 28th. So is this a March goal? This is an April goal and a May goal. So then there is a good set of expectations of when Honey is supposed to do some of these tasks. So then I can start tagging it here, like this is for the email management objective. And then every single month when we have our monthly syncs is we're able to go through it and we're able to rate like, hey, you did really well. From 1 to 5, 5 being the highest, you did really well when it went to, shadowing me and seeing how I did it on the cleaning side. Still have things to learn. We have to create checklists on this. And then the drafts, you've actually been, kicking butt on this. So this is something that ideally, again, that you do every single month, not in one row like that. So then if there was something that wasn't done, let's say that the cleaning side, there's still things to improve, then we move this up to May. So then it becomes a May objective. The cool thing about this template is we can see things by objective. I can also create filters by month. So it becomes this really easy way for me to be able to set her goals, set her objectives. So then we have, again, that good sync back and forth of what needs to get done for the next month. So honey, do you have anything that you want to add for how we do our monthly meetings?
As an executive assistant, getting feedback is one of the important things just because this is where I learned some of the things to improve and what I did best for the past days that I've been working with the task or projects. With this, I find this very necessary and helpful just because as an executive assistant, I kept on learning many different things with Miss Lian's business and of course how to handle things confidently and how do the business works with or without Miss Lee. At least I have that point wherein I can figure out the things myself on where I am at, or is there any things that I need to tap on Miss Lee that can help for this and it helped for that. So overall, this monthly retrospective that we usually do for the past months that I've been working with Miss Lian is kind of very helpful and have gone through with a different task. So it made me better as a person and of course as an executive assistant.
And with that very well said sentiment, that is basically how, again, we do our daily, weekly, monthly sync. Again, that's live. That's exactly what me and my assistant go through every single day, week, and month to make sure that we are in sync, we're in line with what we're supposed to be doing. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want more videos like this, where I'm literally just walking you guys through what me and my assistant do. So you have a little bit of inspiration on how you can do it with your assistant. And of course, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there, so I can know that these are the kinds of videos you guys want to see. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have a business from home, which you guys can check out those 2 playlists right here and the latest video right here. I hope you guys have an awesome day. Remember that small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.